Hello, I would like to welcome you to Crown Hair Loss 101. This is where we're looking for and will be able to find solutions for clients who are presenting with the crown hair loss. I would like to give you a few examples so that you'll see where we're going with this. So I would like for you to have the time to sit and prepare to learn. The video will be approximately 40 to 45 minutes. Within that time, I want you to be able to actually complete a hair loss class whereby you have grasped the information and you'll be able to transfer it directly to your client. Shouldn't need a lot of practice because this is precision training that I'm giving you. It's your personal classroom, your personal time. So it's going to be up to you how you use this personal time. But I certainly hope that you will get out of it that which you feel will help you to become more proficient in this area for your presenting clients. Please forgive my glasses. I need to have them on because this is like a regular classroom, as if you're sitting right there with me. So when there are mistakes, please forgive me because it's very natural, because this is something I care about dearly, and I care about you learning as much as I'm able to share with you. So without further ado, we're going to look at some hair loss pictures. First of all, this is a hair loss client presenting with female pattern baldness. This is in the very top, but you see there's hair around the perimeter that you will be able to work with. You'll learn how to take care of this or find a solution for this. I will give you a solution, let's put it that way, for this particular loss, but this is more advanced. Here, look at the hair. This is the client's hair, but in the top, it's very sparse. So basically, it's a matter of covering that top and then letting the other hair just lay in and integrate so that she'll have a full head of hair. The thing you want to consider with this is your closure. I have provided a closure that I hope you'll be able to use. Now this is another one. This is in the very, very top. And there are different solutions for this. So I will be sharing with you the solution that I use for this particular one as well. Again, this is hair loss with the presenting client. It's loss on the top. Look at it. You can, with the one look at a glance, you can tell that this hair is not going to grow back, particularly around the edges and in the top. The papilla has stopped producing. And once it stopped producing, it's very difficult to do anything. But look at all the hair you have that you can work with. Look at possibilities. Don't look at the limits. Look at the possibilities of what you can do with that client's hair. I just have a couple more because I just basically want to give you an idea as to how you can use the information. Again, want you to be creative. As myself, I want you to look at any type of hair loss. Any type. And I want you to be able to share with that client, yes, I can help you. So, our next step then here is to, again, this step is to show you what you can do. Of course, there are two pictures here. There should only be one, but that's okay. You see? That's beautiful. I'll show you the same lady. She feels good. When you finish a client like this lady, you made a difference. You made a difference. The degree of loss will vary among the clients that you'll see. There she is again. So I've been working with her over a period of time. As a matter of fact, her hair, believe it or not, has grown back again. This is what you'll be able to do. Once you get the full head of hair on there, you can do almost anything you want to do with that hair. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? But look at the sparkle. You know, the clients really appreciate it when you take the time and give them the look that they want. You're a good stylist, and you know that. Once you get a head full of hair, you can cut it and just do whatever you choose. And, well, whatever you choose and whatever you and your client decide on. So, our next step, I've provided a booklet for you. One that you can use before or after your training. Basically, the booklet contains most of the things that I will share with you, all of the things I will share with you on the video. And it's designed to reinforce your confidence, basically, in what you're doing. It also talks about types of hair loss and gives you a lot of information that you will be able to use so that clients like to know you know what you're talking about. So when you identify their type of hair loss, you'll be able to look through this booklet and make sense of it. For example, types of alopecia. Alopecia, of course, being a technical term for abnormal hair loss. Causes and other different causes, so that when you look at the client's hair or scalp, you'll be able to determine possibly the causes of the hair loss, because people like to know why. Most people are in denial, promise you that. They're in denial. But with that being said, that's okay, because after they speak with you and they do the consultation, which again, I have the consultation sheet for you in here, one that you may use to do either a phone consultation, Skype, or in person. And it has different information that you will need in order to provide that service that you feel that the client wants. Additionally, it has concerns. What are you concerned about? These are the things you want to share with the client at your intake. Well, not necessarily at your intake, but at your consultation. And then the skills. I have provided that in this booklet. So you would want the booklet, because I believe it will assist you. It has the objectives, basically what I'm showing you here. And the next thing that I'll be showing you is the materials and the implements that you're going to need for this service, for this solution. You are going to, 1, complete application of net to crown. You're going to install the hair, and you're going to do the best closure for that particular style. And there are several closures. You're going to complete the actual installation of the hair, and you should be prepared to style it and to cut it. So we're going to look at the different things that you're going to need. Again, this is your hair loss booklet. It says NCI Precision Hair Restoration Technique 1. Order this booklet along with downloading the video. The things that you're going to need, let's take a look. Let's take a look at the net. You have two different types of net. You have some nets that are soft. These are the ones that are more comfortable, especially for a long period of time. The client is going to wear this net and this hair installation for 4 to 6 months. Depending on the severity of the hair loss, they can actually wear it longer. However, this is with the maintenance every 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks. This is one that you can go to the beauty supply store and get. This is a good one to start off with because it's not very expensive, and you'll be able to practice with this one. Of course, it's not that thick, but this is the net. It's just the pliability. This one is just much softer. You may order a kit from me if you like, and I'll be happy to provide the net for you for your first couple of sessions, and then you can order the net. I'll give you more information. You have more than one type of scissor. We can say shears, of course, that you will need. And I have others. So it just depends on what you like and what you want. Because when you're cutting your net, you don't want to use your hair cutting scissors. You want to save that for those implements for when you're actually getting ready to cut and style the hair. You need a comb. Just a regular rat tail will do. A regular rat tail comb will do. This will help you to remove anything, any thread that needs to be removed as you're working, or when it's time to remove the installation. Okay, this is a seam ripper. You can go to any of your stores to get one. Just your regular Walmart will be able to will have that for you. Your needles, that's something that's very important. The needles are very important. So what I want to do is show you needles. Additionally, before I do the needles, to thread your needles. This will help you so that, it will save time when you take this little part here, place it through the needle, place your thread through that loop, and pull the thread through. It makes it much easier for you. This is a straight needle. and it has a blunt tip. Take a look at the needles that you're using and know what you're using and why you're using it. This is, of course, your moon-shaped needle. I can't even think of the name of it, but this is your like an oval shape. And again, placing this through there and then pulling the hair through. But this has more of a pointed edge. It's large enough for you to be able to use. Additionally, you won't be going through the weft when you're working. However, there'll be a point where you want to go through there so you can secure your net to the braid or the twist. Again, I want you to use the needle that's comfortable for you. If you would like the kit, these will be provided in the kit. Otherwise, go to your favorite beauty supply store and get some needles. And you can get some of the commercial needles. Go on to the internet, for example, and you will be able to get needles from there. So the needle is very important. Work with a couple needles, and that will also speed up the service, because hair loss service is different from weaving. There are so many things you need to consider. All right? In the booklet, it gives you all the things that you're going to need, and it also gives you the instructions for doing exactly what I'm going to be demonstrating for you. I've enjoyed this session here, sharing information with you. And so my next step then is going to be where I'm going to be showing you how to go around that perimeter with your needle, how to do all the things that you need to do to make this work. So stay with me, because now we're getting ready to work. You should have everything you need, and if you want to just take a look and get your booklet, it's amazing what you'll be able to do. Okay, so be right back. Okay, this is what you're going to learn or integrate into your own knowledge base. This here, you can cut it and do whatever you want with it. However, let's take a look at this. You see, there's a net that covers the crown hair loss all the way around. Upon completion of this video, you should be able to cover that crown, because that's the area we're most particularly concerned with right now. You notice, see, she has enough hair around the front, but this entire crown area is where she has severe hair loss. I've chosen to work with the mannequins because I feel that this is a service that's private and personal. Okay, this pretty much is what you're going to start with. Okay, see all that hair loss in there. Others will have more, again, hair loss than others. Again, there's a net in there. I want your work to be neat and precise. This is neat. It is precise. The thinner your client's hair, the less volume, the less weight you have in here. But once it's covered, it really won't matter. But this is what you're going to be doing. I want you to make it as neat as you possibly can. And we're going to get started where I'm going to show you how to do that so that you can cover that hair loss. So you have to imagine a client is sitting there with you and you're covering that hair loss. I want to remind you of what we're doing here. Sorry. This is hair loss, again, in the crown area. It's very thin, it's sparse, and this hair, again, if you look at it, it's not going to grow back. But this is basically for this level is what we're going to be concentrating on, is that type of hair loss. Okay? By this type of hair loss. Here we go. There is more than one way to cover this client's hair if she has hair loss. The first thing you can do is to get a piece. Get a piece with a closure. This is something that you can order. A piece to cover the hair loss. But again, it has to be connected to something if this is what you're going to use. However, many times it doesn't cover the perimeter. So you're going to want it to cover the perimeter. So you may have to use extra hair. Okay. This, it has a closure. As a matter of fact, it is a closure. And there are different size closures that I'll be showing you through this session. But this can be ordered in different colors. And I'll be giving you that information again. But I want to concentrate on the technique more than anything else right now. So if you're ready, if you're going to work along with me or just observe me, you notice I just took this one off of here. But we're going to do our own cover across there. And we'll look at more than one closure. I don't want to continue to repeat myself. If you have a mannequin or if you have a client and you want to work along with me or work ahead of me, because I'm going to tell you what the next thing I'm going to do. Obviously, you have shampooed and conditioned the hair that your client has. You've taken a look at that scalp to make sure it's clean, it's clear, and you don't have to worry about any kind of irritations. That's very important. Very important that you always treat that scalp. What I would like for you to do now is to part a very thin layer of hair around the perimeter where the hair loss has occurred. All the way around the perimeter where the hair loss has occurred. Because this is the beginning of your foundation. This is the beginning. Go all the way around. It will be thinner in some areas than in others, but don't worry about that. Work with what you have. Please do not make that client feel guilty just because they don't have quite enough hair for you to braid. You go as deep as you need to go to cover that perimeter. This is what I'm doing. I've gone around. I'm going to continue. This part, this will not be seen. So you don't have to worry about it. So you're going to go all the way around the perimeter. Notice this is a little deep, so I'm going to go right over in there. Get me a little thin piece. This will work for me. This is the hair that I'm going to use as the foundation for what we're going to do. And that is to add hair to this area once we have a foundation. Okay. Go all the way around. You're already a professional. If you can braid, braid it. If you cannot braid it, twist it tightly and braid and stitch it around the perimeter. Okay. So now that we've gotten to that area, that is what I would like for you to do. Is go around that perimeter and braid it. You want to use extra hair to secure the braid. You're using very thin layer around here, so around the crown perimeter. Since you're doing that, then you want to add some hair to give more strength, because this is where you're going to place the net. So I took this, I put it in half, and then I connected it so that I can start the braid. Now, if you can braid and you want to work, if you want to work ahead of me, feel free to do so. You are a professional, and I don't think you're going to have a problem during this particular part. I'm using a lighter strand. I'm using lighter hair so you'll be able to see the braiding. All the way around the perimeter of where that hair has been lost. Watch your tension. Watch the tension, because you're going to secure it with thread. You don't want your client to have a headache before they get home, which will happen. So whenever you braid, you should always let the tip of your fingers touch the scalp so that you can get it secure, but it's not tight against the scalp area. Notice I'm going around the perimeter. I'm making this video, I want it in sections so that you will be able to follow along as you wish. Some of you will be able to look at what I'm doing and go ahead and just put it on your client's hair without a problem. Of course you can do that. Stay around that perimeter. You find that the texture of the mannequin hair is a stronger texture than that of a person's hair, particularly people with hair loss. You will find that the texture in the client is going to be softer, easier to work with. However, if you choose to work with a mannequin and then work with your client, you will see that it is much easier working with the client. I'm coming to the end of the perimeter that I'm working with. And if you're not coming to the end, you just perhaps want to stop the video and then finish that part. However, with what I've shared with you thus far, some of you may have already gone into this part and have it already ready. That's up to you. The thing is, you just don't want to spend time in a classroom, time on the road, trying to learn something that you can just download and learn it in your own time. Because it's kind of what I call personal learning. Again, it's your personal classroom that I've set up just for you. If you share it, that's of course up to you. However, you want to increase your skills. Increasing your skills just basically means that you're going to increase your financial situation. Now, I've completed the perimeter. You can either cut that hair off if you like, or you can stitch it in. Now, I think I mentioned it earlier. This hair is thicker by strand. On your client's scalp, it's going to be a much thinner layer. And then the support hair is going to be there. Be careful. Do not pull on the hair and tighten it so much that your client has a headache. When you braid, you should lay your fingers on the scalp as you move your fingers around, and that will help the hair to be tight as far as a braid goes, but not on the scalp area. So now that we have completed that, the next thing we're going to do is stitch it around. I'm going to show you how to stitch and how to do this quickly. I have to determine which needle I want to use, and I think that I'll use my larger needle for now. Again, just so that we take a look at threading your needle. You should already have perhaps 2 or 3 threads. That way you don't have to stop. But notice, now you see why I use this, don't you? Okay, I'm going to put this end through there. Pull the thread through. Place that back. And I'm going to knot the end. If you have 2 needles, you can absolutely move faster. Or if you have someone threading for you, you can move faster. Knot the end of your thread. And then the first thing you're going to do, here's a loop. I'm going to take the needle, place it through. I think I want to start here. I'm going to place that here through. The needle, through. And once I place that through, I'm going to go through the thread to make a knot right there. So I'm going to go under and through. I'm going to cut that excess off. If you notice, I'm bringing it in a loop. Let's do it this way. This is actually just securing. Bring it through. If you get some loose thread, stop, check it, and move again. This is a larger needle, and it has kind of a hook upward, so it allows me to go in quickly. Again, I'm going to slow this down because I want you to see what I'm doing. I'm taking this, pulling it over, moving it in. Looping, pulling it through. Your thread is going to be important. It is important to buy a nylon thread, the kind that you get on the larger roll. I'm using a brown thread, but you can use this. The other thread, that cotton thread, is going to cause a few more problems because it's going to get stuck in the hair. Alright, now that's as far as I want to go. Then I'll move on around the perimeter. In order to knot it, you wrap it around the needle. I went a little too close that time. Twice. And you got a knot. You can wrap it around 3 times. What I normally do when I work with it, I wrap it. Whenever I end with my thread, I tie it. I tie it twice. I cut it. I want it to be neat all the way around because I'm building a foundation for my beautiful client, so she doesn't have to have anything wiggling on her head. I want it to feel just as if it is her scalp. So I want you to continue around the perimeter, and then we'll go to the next step. Take your time. The technique is something that you just, once you get the entire technique of moving the hands properly and manipulating the thread and the needle, I think that you will start to feel more and more comfortable. It takes time. I didn't learn this overnight, but you can learn it overnight because why? I'm cutting that excess piece around. As you work on your client, you're going to find it much neater, but you make sure it's neat. See, I would have gone around the perimeter. Use the hair that I have, the length. I would have combed this area out of my way and moved on. It's amazing what you can do with the back of that hair and even around this perimeter. I always suggest a bob. For those people who don't haven't worked with their hair for a long time, believe it or not, they really are not pretending. They just really don't know what they're doing or how to work with their hair. The next thing you're going to do is the net. You're going to place the net over. Cut about an inch above the net on your perimeter. I'm going around. You can measure it if you want to, and then cut it. It's kind of up to you. However, you really don't want to waste the lace. Now, if you can help it, costs money, people. What you charge your client to do this is going to have quite a bit to do with the income, the area you're in terms of income. If you're going to advertise for people to come in from the outside, and you're going to look at your time. Remember, cosmetologists are paid for their time and their skill. You want to check and see on a couple of clients how long it's going to take. You may want to give them a discount at first, because that'll give you an opportunity to spend time really perfecting this craft. Most beauty colleges, well, none that I know of, offer classes in hair loss. And that's sad to a degree, because there's so many people out there that are presenting with hair loss. And since they're presenting with hair loss, they need someone who is able to accommodate them and give them a professional look. Now, you're going to make sure that you start to apply your net. This right here, it has 2 hooks. It's like a wig holder. You can go to the average store and get one. Place it there. And under the chin. Of course, have your client to hold it right in front of the neck, like so. Because she's not a mannequin, obviously, so you won't be able to do what I'm doing. But if you work with your mannequin, of course you can. And that gives you an opportunity to get that done. So again, you're going to stitch around the perimeter. And once you stitch around the perimeter, you're going to be careful. Neatly cut the excess off. And when you have done that, this is what you're going to end up with. In order to expedite what I'm doing so you can learn it quickly, because you're already a professional, I wanted to have things that were ready so you wouldn't have to spend the day watching this video. But there you go. That's not going to move. It's going to grow a little bit. And there's a way that you can tighten it after 4 weeks if you need to. But usually it takes about 8 when you need to tighten it. I'll be showing you how to do that. The next thing you want to do is then apply the hair. Are you learning? Are you enjoying it? I hope so. Okay, we're going to get the wefts of hair. You can split the weft if you like. If you don't want to split it, then of course you can wait until you get in the top to split it. Split the hair weft, and I should be showing you what I'm talking about for those of you who are new to this. So, this is the weft that we're going to use. I'm not using anything expensive because that's going to be up to you. This is for training. So when you're training and you want to spend a little time training, make sure you don't just use very expensive hair until you really know or feel comfortable about what you're doing. I'm bringing this around the perimeter of the hair. She has hair here, so I don't have to make this so thick. So, what I'm going to do is stop it right here. And I'm going to move around. Again, the bob style is going to be the best style for you to use. Let's take a look at some of the styles that you'll be able to produce on your clients, and even more depending on your expertise in styling. Again, once the hair is on there, it's on there. So let's take a look at what we can do, because this is, the hair is short, if you notice. It's short. So these are some of the people, or my clients. This is the style that we completed for this young lady. Beautiful. Doesn't she look happy? This is another style. This was done, some years back. Nice, very nice ladies with their own particular look. hair that lasted for 4 to 6 months with maintenance every 3 to 4 weeks. What do you think? Just what I'm teaching you today, you can do complete different styles. The amount of hair loss depends on the client, obviously. So, as I said, so often clients want something that's low maintenance. Low maintenance. She loved her Shirley Temples. Yes, indeedy. Look at that beautiful smile on that beautiful lady. Isn't that awesome? All she has to do is do the maintenance that I asked her to do over the couple of weeks. So, there you go. These are some of the pictures of hair that I've completed with clients who had different degrees of hair loss in this area. And I'm looking at this perimeter here. I'm not looking at the front area because, like I said, there is hair there. So you're going to continue to move around. You're going to stitch. As you stitch around, you're going to move up that net as you stitch around. I'm going to stitch this because I want to show you a couple of things. But you continue to stitch around. Take your time. Stitch around. Each time, go up just a little bit so it'll layer for you. Just a little bit. If the hair is long, if it's short, I mean, but if it's long, obviously you will be able to continue. You will be able to style it in a longer style. Now, if you notice, the perimeter is getting smaller. And then I take my next weft, I go around and around until I get to that little small spot where I'm going to need to add hair. That's where our closure will be. So, what I want you to do is take your time and start to stitch that hair around. Take your time and be careful so you can learn the first time. Who wants to just, you've been to school. You don't have to go back to school. This is your classroom, your personal one, where you can add this service to the services in your salon. And you will make a lot of people happy. The color of the thread should be as close to the color of the hair as possible. I'm using hair that's a little in contrast to the hair that I'm using. And I'm doing that because I just kind of want you to see. When you run out of hair, that's okay. But you want it to remain flat around here. So start about an inch, a half an inch or 1/4 of an inch from the end. Move down and then move back so that part of the hair will be secured to the weft. Again, you're going to make that loop going to make that loop because you're getting ready to close in. And if you notice, I'm going backwards here. I'm going to, because I want it to loop well, I'm going to do 2 loops opposed to 1. So when I do that particular loop, that hair is going to lay there for me, and I don't have to worry about it loosening up, coming loose. Okay. Again, how much thread you use is going to be pretty much up to you. As you move around that perimeter that you're getting ready to close, keep it flat with your fingers. Bring it around in a circle. When you bring it around a circle, you have to control the hair. Because, gotta get that hair out of my way. Put it back there. You want to control the hair. You want to keep it neat. Continue to go in your circle. Don't let it lift. Don't let the hair lift up. Keep it flat. You can use your thumb and your middle finger to keep it flat. Trying to do this slowly because this is a very important part. You notice that keeps loosening on me. It keeps loosening right here. So this is what I'm going to do. Watch. So that it won't lift up while I am going around this small area, I'm going to bring the hair through the loop. I'm going to loop it at least 1 time. As I loop it that 1 time, watch this. Then you'll notice that it won't lift. It will not lift. Pay close attention to what you're doing and where you're going. Again, I'm moving around the perimeter. I'm going to again loop it more than 1 time. I want it to stay smooth. Now I'm working with thread that's close to the color that I'm using. Keep it flat. All of this, if you're not as proficient with the needle as you would like to be, it just requires practice. That's all. But in addition to practice, you really have to care about this type of service because it's going to require more of you. That's why you can charge more. Don't do that on your client's head. But what you want to always just consider this. Laying it flat. Take your comb or take your brush so that stays flat for for you. It lays flat. Then you're going to continue to move around. Hope that you're able to see what I'm doing, because I'm staying right inside of this perimeter here. And I'm going to double that. I don't want to pull it too tight, because once I do, it starts to buckle on me. Now, you see how it's closing? If you noticed, I'm not going through the weft with my needle. Not yet, anyway. But I will do that when I start to get to the final part of the closure. Make sure your client has the time to spend. If she has to go and babysit or pick up the grandkids or go to work, book her on a day that she's free, so that not only you're not rushed, but neither is she. Because if you're rushed, you're going to see that it's going to be a lot more difficult for you to complete the hair the way you want. Additionally, the client, when the client returns, if there are any things that you need to, to modify, then of course, do that. However, you want your client to be pleased. You have to determine how much time it takes you to do this. Again, booking it on a day where you don't have other clients. This is your day for your hair loss clients. They don't need to be worried. Book them according to, if it takes you 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours to complete the perimeter, to complete the style, you just charge for it, so that you'll be able to do what you need to do. I'm going to move a little faster here. I shared that we would be so the weft won't be too, I want to go around one more time, so it won't be so thick. Some people have a problem right in here when they are doing the closure, and there's a big puff in the top. You will find that you'll be able to work with that. And you'll work with that as time goes by. You'll get better and better at that part. What I'm doing here, there's a piece of thread that was out. If I allow it to stay out, it's going to come back to haunt me. So I just decided to stop. Notice I'm closing in, and I'm going to change my needle shortly. I'm going to do the double loop. See how see how it's working out? Can you see that? I'm more concerned about what you can see than what I can see. Right? So now I want to go around a little more because I want this also to be, again, flat, but I don't want it to be sunken in, so I've got to be very careful as I move around. This is going to be the part that will be most challenging, or of course this is the wrong color, but you can buy that little piece to go in the top. I don't like to do that because it's so difficult to match the hair. But you have other things that you can do should you have a problem. Ones that are as large as this that you put on, although this is not the correct color unless you wanted to add some more color to her. So we're going to continue to make our own closure. Some people have a closure that they just roll up and stick it down in that little area there. Again, that's not something I do. I just want to make sure you can see what I've done so far. Okay, I'm continuing to move around. Because this is what I want to end up with, something I've done. Okay, see that closure? It's a good one. And I'm going to show you how to do that particular closure. Again, keep it flat. Work with it. After a while, you'll be able to do it so fast you won't even think about it. Now, there's quite a bit of hair here, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to cut the hair. You have to use your judgment on this. I'm going to cut about that much so I can complete the top of her hair. I hope you're getting this. You really don't need to spend days and weeks and months on trying to do this work. You need to just get into it. After you spend your time watching what we're doing here, what I'm doing here, and if I use we because hopefully you're working along with me. It's boring to just sit there and watch, and then watch it more than one time. Watch the segment that you want to watch. You will get so much more out of it, and you will get as much out of this as you put into it. And that's with anything. I'm going to have to try and pull this up a little bit. Again, you notice I'm trying to make sure it stays tight. I'm going to do that double because I don't want it to move. Please do not pull the thread tight. If you do that, you're going to have a problem. And that's a promise. You have to follow the hair around. Just follow the hair. Follow what you're doing. After this particular one, I'm just going to change my needle. Make sure that's as flat as I can get it. Stay in the direction that I'm working in, because it's easy to get that little bulk up there. And I'm going to pull my needle through here so I can tie it off. I'm going to tie it off right down in here someplace where I can get my net. Make my loop. So it's out of my way. Make your double loop so that when you shampoo it and condition it, it won't come loose. You don't want to have to do a lot of repairs. If you do a good job at the very beginning, you won't have to do repairs. Notice each time I'm closing this, anytime I get to the end where I know that she can comb it loose, or it can unravel loose on its own, or when I shampoo and style it, when she returns, I want to make sure I don't have to do a lot of maintenance. The more she works with her hair, the better she's going to be. Our next thing is this. I'm going to split the weft. Okay. Now, we're continuing to go around the hair. Okay, we're getting ready to go to our last leg. I guess you can see this is a real classroom here. I've placed my needle through that opening in the center, and with one gesture, first of all, I'm going to cut right in front of that because I'm going to pull that piece of hair into the center. I'm going to pull that piece of hair right into the center. There it is. It's into the center through that little hole. I'm going to go back through somewhere and grab the edge again because I can still see a little bit of that edge. Because I want it all the way inside of there. You notice you have to work underneath the hair. and you've completed your own closure. Make sure you stay underneath. Open the hair up in the back. Let me show you. And you're going to tie it off. It's already underneath there. Just go right back in there. See, just a little place. Loop twice and lock it. Any excess hair, move it, because you don't want anything making the hair stick up. You can lock it once, twice, or more. Depends on what you want to do. Again, you're going to tie it off. I'm going to cut it. You're going to tie it off. I would do that twice. Get it out of your way. Cut off that excess. I print my mouth like that because I'm so busy watching and concentrating on what I'm doing and thinking, because it's really, at the end of the day, all about you. Be very careful if you have any little strands that's going to stick up. You know what you need to do. Okay, and one thing I like to do, hold on one second. I like to put a little water on my hand. She doesn't look like she did before. Now, her top is covered. I can cut it and I can style it in some of those styles that we looked at earlier. But I would have to cut it and style it and do whatever that we want to do. But there you go. You should have learned how to put hair over the perimeter, the crown area of your client's hair, your client with hair loss. You should have learned to do that and then learn to style it. Then style it. You already know how to style. And have her to bring a picture in to show you what she would like. Add this to your business. You will not regret it. You will not regret being able to do this for your clients. I hope this has been informative. I hope that you will get the booklet, and I hope that you have learned so that you do not have to do a lot of practicing. I hope that I've been precise enough in each step for you. I want you to remain blessed, and that this has been a very good special, I always say spiritual, because that's so much a part of my life, experience for you. Hold your hands up and say, these hands are blessed and they're going to make a difference. Right now, I'm signing off, and thank you for working along with me. Bye-bye. I'm now going to split the net, and I'm going to use this blade. Be very careful splitting the net. And if you're not careful, it's easy to cut yourself. Start about 1 inch back and then move another 1/4 of an inch as the hair is separated into 2 parts. See? It makes it thinner in that top. You're going to take your time. Depends on how the hair is constructed. But I suggest that you try to make sure when you separate it, that the piece on the inside of the hair that's going to lay here, you want to make sure that that's the piece that's cut off. I think that will be enough. Now, I have changed my needle. I've changed it because I want to be able to go through the weft at the end when I need to. This is the trick about this closure. So stay with me. First of all, I don't want to have a little piece of thread sticking up. So what I normally like to do is go in and lock my thread underneath. As I lock my thread underneath, then I move through that opening there in the middle, and then I'm ready to start my stitch again. Again, don't let that hair turn. Fold it over. Fold it over and keep it straight. For those of you who are weaving at any rate, you certainly should not have a problem with completing this process. It's just a matter of trial and error and seeing what you need to do each time to improve your skill. Again, we're going for your closure. It's better to have more control over your closure. I'm going through the weft. And I say that because you can control the hair color. You know, you can control everything, how much hair you need to use. When you start using commercial products, it's not always good for every single style that you do. So what you want to do is make sure it's conducive to your needs for completing your client's style. Again, I'm moving this around. Frequently take a few seconds to get that smoothness. Just take a few seconds to make sure that it's smooth as you work, because you want it to lay close. When you're using a curly texture, it doesn't require, if you'll notice, it doesn't require as much, because the closure, you do the same thing, but it's not as critical. And I say that because it's just not going to, it's not going to be seen, because it's among the curls. When you use like wet and wavy and styles like that, go into that net. I'm feeling that net because I'm getting ready to do this closure. I'm going to go into the other hair just a little bit. I'm still not placing my needle through the net. I'm closing. Don't pull too tight. I'm moving now. I'm at that part of the hair where I have split the hair. Go in there. You can go through your waft if you like. After you practice this a few times, it'll make, it'll make more sense. If you decide to use this particular closure, the key is you have to use a closure that's comfortable for you. Now what I've done here, I've got to see, I have hair that got caught, so I want to move it so I can glide that thread all the way through. Let me get here. I'm trying to make sure you're able to see what I'm doing. I certainly hope so. But what I want to do is to make sure that I have the thread that I need. Never continue to work if you see anything that's going to come back to haunt you. And as I told you, this is like a live classroom. It's not something that I'm just throwing together. It's something that I want you to be able to follow me with. Now the next time I use, take your time and get that out of the way. Again, make sure your client has time. And you charge her what you think you need to charge her for your time, for the quality of your work, for your skill. Now, I'm going to go around once more, and I'm following the hair. I'm not staying in one spot to do this. I'm going through my waft now. I'm following all the way around. I'm following all the way around. There we go, we're getting there. Make it so tiny until it looks like a little pinhole here. You see, right in there. Bring it around once more until it gets tiny. Can you see that? That's my end. That's the end of the hair. And bring it around I'll do it once more, and then I'm going to pull a piece inside of the hair, inside of that hole, and I'll show you how that's done. I'm standing on the opposite side of my light right now, but that's okay. All right, going around. We are finishing up. Not there yet. Okay, now, right here, I want you to pay close attention to this. I don't want you to have to run this video over again to see this part. Now, here's my needle. Here is the corner, not the corner. I'm going through. Okay. I'm going to cut. I'm going to go through my weft one more time. Now, personalized classes are available. And when I say that, I will be doing the classes. If you would like to take a class from me, that's something we certainly can talk about. Now that I have that, I'm going to take the needle. Please hold on 1 second.